Hey guys, how's it going? Hot tea right here, and welcome to the Hunting Mastery Guide. I'm your host Kyrandis, and welcome back to Google God here. And today's video is just mostly about hunting, going over everything I know about it, I guess, for instance. So let's just jump right into it. The first thing you gotta know is what class do you want to pick to do hunting. I preferably would recommend a character that's not short. Unfortunately, that's just how BDO mechanics work. You'll love me later for that tip, so don't pick a short character. Usually Guardian or Zerker are really good choices. Your passive skills also really matter here as well. So you might want to look through your class's passive skills in succession. Most of the time it's all succession that has the passive skills that actually affect hunting for whatever reason. I hope they don't really change this. So I kind of wrote them all out here for you here on this notepad, but I'll put it on this text here on the screen that's much more easily read. So essentially, one of the best classes I would think to hunt is actually a Musa, strangely enough. Ninja is kind of like speed is okay, but like Witch has like a crit rate of like 4%, not really good. Zerker is really good for this. Guardian is probably the best, I would think, if you're just doing this. If you're doing Tamer is also really good at DPSing, but mostly the two classes that are best for like the party bosses like Calc and Blue Whales is like Shies and Tamers. And also Guardians. Guardians are surprisingly really good at hunting. She's tall, she's got thick legs, she's got crazy crit damage and crit rate that's also really big. Those are like really big things that Guardian can have for hunting, on top of like she also looks like a hunter anyway, so I don't really know. And then Archer is like you need to be level 63 in order to get like a decent like 12% crit rate or like 10%. Move speed sort of helps with kiting and also like running around the mobs if you're pushing for levels at Featherwolves. Featherwolves is probably the place to level up. Otherwise there's also Narvel Island. If you're going more for RNG and if you're just lucky, go to Narshin. But you do need like high levels of like hunting before you ever check there. So Tamer is like top DPS with Tamer buff when you absorb Heilong. The buff lasts long enough for you to swap weapons over and also blast it as well. Kuno is decent at it. She gets like a 10 attack speed bonus, which does help. 5 crit from being in succession. Meiwa only has crit 5, so not so good. Zerker has like a total of 13 crit rate, which is really good. Warrior has like 10 attack speed, but also like really high DP, so you could probably just like face tank a lot of mobs with like very little like low end hunter's clothes or whatever, or DP gear if you can't afford hunter's clothes. Hunter's clothes usually already have a shackload of DP like it stuck to it. Witch not so much. Wizard definitely not. Musa is actually like extremely high crit rate, so 15% or something with like all his succession passes. Striker is not so good, just like Mystic as well. Ninja has like an attack speed of like 13%. I think they're boosting that to like 17 in the global labs later, so I don't know if that's actually an actual change or not, but he does have the highest attack speed, but he has no crit rate, so it's kind of not so good. Crit rate is quite important with hunting, and Archer has a crit rate and move speed, same with Ranger. I don't know if ranged AP actually affects the rifle damage since it is a ranged attack, but I'm hard to test and I'm kind of too lazy, and what I'm doing already is good enough for me. So like I'm Kuno obviously, and that the stats I have are already good enough. So but if you wanted to like become a min-max lord, these are your options essentially. If you're hunting like different things like llamas, for instance, llamas are like really hard to hit in Dregan. I don't know why they have like almost like 900 evasion or something weird or whatever. Anybody who's ever hunted llama somewhere around over here, so the crossroads somewhere right about here. Yeah, if you need accuracy for that, strangely enough, if you actually really want to blast them and like just wipe them out really quickly, llamas are strangely really hard to hit. So if you're kind of gearing more towards like weird things like that, or I don't know, some update down the road to keep in mind, DKs, Dark Knights, Sages, and Hashashins like have a really like high extremity base hit rate or whatever on everything. So you can hold a gun on those and you like like almost never miss a shot on using that class, because I've swapped like gear into like bags and whatever and tested it with accuracy, and it does actually affect that. I don't know why, but you know, BDO is BDO. In terms of gear though, gear you want obviously hunter's clothes if you can get it. It's quite expensive, but you want to have at least 400 mastery, because with 400 mastery you can just wield the highest level rifle. Gathering mastery does not really help this at all. It even says so on the mastery itself. So how the mastery of hunting works is that it more or less increases your quantity of items found, not so much your chance. Your chance sort of relatively remains the same. I haven't really noticed like any higher chances or whatever. It's just that like the multiples that I find of items have increased quite a bit. And at certain thresholds, you'll start noticing like certain things go higher and higher and whatnot. And so like what used to be like at the beginner level, when you sometimes you get furniture heads, right? Which is one of the biggest things of hunting is furniture heads. So when you find a lot of furniture heads, eventually, sometimes when you harvest a wolf, instead of dropping one furniture head, it'll drop you 2. And then like in higher levels, it'll drop you 3 or up to 3. And then like at the very highest level, it drops you 4. So it's kind of weird when you kill like a feather wolf, for instance, and it drops you four stuffed feather wolf heads. So that's kind of how it works. It goes the same with like all the other rare items, but like their chances do not really increase. I've not seen any kind of like chance increase. Gathering drop rate also doesn't work. So like I've tried with Alkstone, I've tried it with Lara's Tea, I've tried it with like, you know, everything that's drop rate related doesn't affect it. I don't even think magic knives affect it. Like me having this Ted Manos butcher knife is just because I used to cut a lot of like deer or whatever at bear, and I was like, oh well, I use this for like hunting anyways, so it's whatever. And then I guess obviously on top of that, people are like, well, how much silver do you make per hour? It's only about like 200-ish silver an hour at like an extreme level of hunting with a lot of gear. Whereas like if I went to do the, like chopping logs or chopping meat with the same gear and amount of time investment, we probably make like 300 mil an hour. But if that's all you care about is silver, like you should just go grind monsters anyways. But like why I do hunting is because, well, one, it's different, and 2, I get multiple different items. While they might not be worth as much as like just grabbing like one type of item or whatever, like meat for instance, you get multiple items of every single kind that can go into multiple life skills. So you can look at it as like you might not make as much money, but you'll also be progressing like 7 different life skills at the same time. So that's how it is. And yes, it's about 7 or 8 different life skills that you can progress all by doing just hunting. Whether it be at the wolves here or somewhere else, it could be anything. It could be with the llamas, it could be with the like wolves. One of the higher strategies, like if you really want to test your luck when you get to a high level of hunting, is obviously going to Narshan. Narshan is a lot worse than like most areas, but like the furniture heads there are worth a lot of cash. If you just like look it up on the marketplace and just have a quick check, you'll notice that like Master's Lion head is worth 57 million silver, and there's like a lot of orders on them, or either that there's none on there, but like they've all sold out. I would always post these at max. This thing gives 15 AP for 1 hour. That's insane. The other monsters there are like the grass rhinos. The grass rhino heads are also like 15 DR for 3 hours or 1 hour, depending on which one. To make the master's head, you need the Narshans. And the Narshans, again, if you have high hunting mastery, you can get multiples of them again. So you can get like 1, 2, 3, or up to 4 or whatever at higher levels. So you can sort of like strategize and theorize that there's like a bit of an RNG plan that you can do here at high levels. But again, like that's super RNG dependent. So there could be days where you make a lot less than like somewhere else. Or you could just actually get super carried, and then all of a sudden you're just like 500 mil up all of a sudden. So, you know, just keep that in mind. Like obviously the allure of 500 mil in like just like 5 minutes or something is insane, but that just means you're extremely lucky as well. It's like finding flames of despair at Turos, like 2 of them in 1 hour kind of thing, along with 2 Turos belts, which has happened. I've seen it happen before. It's like wild. Somebody like yielding over like 2 billion in like 1 hour is insane. So yeah, that's the kind of RNG you can deal with. So in terms of gear though, you want to use this honor gear that you get from completing main quest lines. There used to just be like costume crystals where I either put crit or attack speed in, but now that this exists, use the honor gear because it gives you 2 attack speed levels. I actually sort of hunt now with an exquisite cron meal. I think on stream I was doing it with seafood, and then I accidentally popped an exquisite cron one time, and I started looking at it and I was kind of like, you know what, maybe exquisite cron is the way to go. So it gives your stats. You want attack speed to be maxed out. You also want critical hit to be maxed out, because it does affect the shot speed of your rifle. It also affects the crit rate of your rifle. So sometimes a mob that takes 3 or 4 shots to kill can take 1 to 2 or 1 to 3, depending on your crit. And also like Exquisite also helps crit rate a bit. Then you might have like gathering problem, but then you can have your Alkstone used for that, for gathering, to get gathering 5. So those are other things. Elixirs that I use are usually strong shock, flowing time, or flowing wind, or either that's spirit perfume elixirs because they give 5 crit if you don't have any of the crit. They've also added in a bonus daily quest that happens every so often or whatever in any of the hunting areas, that gives you a random quest to kill X amount, and it gives you a half-hour buff that gives you 2 attack speed and 2 crit rate and 15% bonus hunting EXP. That one is really, really useful because it pretty much like saves you some money from having to use some of your expensive elixirs. If you're using Sifu Kron, then like I would normally use with like Spirit Perfume Elixir if I just feel like it. So it's just like 5 crit rate, bonus EXP, possibly hit a new bracket because of the 25 mastery or Exquisite Kron, and you don't really have to worry about too much of those. But you still need to like somehow make up for the attack speed and the critical hit, which is why like I usually use the strong shot. But when you get the bonus quests, you don't have to like really use too many of those things. They're sort of already given to you. So this is the difference between that. So just go for a little bit of extras here right now, and just like there's also the 100% Spirit Rage. 100% Spirit Rage usually is an AoE shot that hits multiple times. So if you have obviously max crit rate, you could probably one-shot a group of feather rolls, which is what I'm gonna do now just to show you. Right now is just like load my gun, run and kite all these. And kite all these. My tent is still there. You know, just like grab everything here. Probably shoot like a few of these. You always want to crouch when you're shooting. When you're crouching when you're shooting, you actually shoot slightly faster, and you also reload faster. You actually reload quite a bit faster when you're crouching. Your also shot range also is increased by like almost twice as much from crouching. So if you don't have a lot of DP, usually this becomes really dangerous because like these guys actually can destroy you. I have about nearly 300 DP, so that's why like they don't really hurt. So this is the 100 shot, and pretty much like that's all the wolves down. And that's the bonus quest that just triggered for me because it probably knows I'm recording. And this is what it gives you. This buff right here is very useful. 2 attack speed, 2 move speed, and 2 crit hit. So like completing this is very useful. These Mournful Crystal is the forest is also nice. It basically builds up into a forest fury over time. The seals are really nice. You can do whatever you want with them. I would usually take the bosses because I want the boss heads as well as a collection. And yeah, that's pretty much like hunting in a nutshell. You want to also get your rifle as fast as possible to whatever level you can achieve. To get Master Matchlock, you need 5 Narshins, 5 Breath of Narshins. They're these green things. These ones are really expensive and hard to get. You can only get them in Narshin. You get 1 from a quest, and that's it for your entire account. And then the other 4 you have to grind out and just pray to RNGesus that they drop in Narshin as you're killing any of the mobs in there. All the mobs in Narshin, the hunting mobs specifically, not the ones that you kill with like a weapon, the ones that you have to kill with a rifle, specifically all drop Narshins over there. Very low chance obviously, and good luck on that. So you also require a artisan plus 10 rifle in order to craft that, and that can only be made I think in Odraxia in the tool workshop. When you look at it, it's at the bottom over here, Master Matchlock, and it requires 5 Breath of the Narshins, which is the most hardest piece of ingredient to get for this rifle. The rifle is quite a big difference from the artisan plus 10. It's 150 durability instead of 100, so this is also really good for bosses if you're going after like the blue whale or calc, for instance. And the damage is slightly increased compared to the artisan, which is also quite a big difference for when you make critical hits. So for classes like Tamer or Shies, for instance, on bosses, they could be a very, very gross difference since it's 600 extra damage per shot. That's nearly a, I want to say it's a 15% damage increase essentially is what it's about. So 15% damage increase on top of a durability increase, and if you brand it, it's quite powerful. and obviously when you crit it's like double damage. But if you're doing it on a Guardian, for instance, Guardian hits even harder on criticals because she's got that bonus crit damage bonus, so that also makes it hit harder. So feel free to experiment between all those things, and hopefully that helps you out. In terms of value of items, mostly the Supreme Hides, they are accounted for about 84,000 to 80,000 silver, depending on what you do with them. If you change it into furniture heads, it could be worth a lot more. If you're changing it into trade goods and moving it across the planet, it could be worth more than that. But at a minimum, it's at about like 80,000 silvers is how much each Supreme Hide is worth. Just for a mental note of what you want to do with this. I don't know what you want to do with this. It's not recommended for whatever. You just figure it out, whatever you want to do. Most people just turn it into furniture heads because there's very little overhead or very little strategy about it, and it's very instantaneous, so you don't have to worry about too much. But if you want to make more than that, then you'll have to figure out like different methods of whatever you want to do with it. I would at least make the furniture heads just for knowledge, but that's just me because I'm a freak completionist. And that's pretty much it for hunting. So hopefully this helped you out, guys. I think that's pretty much everything I've covered, and that's pretty much it. So hopefully have fun hunting. There's also certain rare monsters that you can find across the planet. There's one in the desert which I still haven't located. There's like a weird snake somewhere across like the rivers here. There's also like a weird alligator somewhere around across over there. Usually when you kill them, you can get like 16 sharp shards and like 8 hard shards like in one go, and it only takes like 10 seconds to kill them. But it's very hard to find them because it's very, very rare. Sometimes they just don't spawn, and I think they spawn like once every like 10 hours or something like that. So happy hunting, and thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace.